الحمد لله رب العالمين له الحمد الحسن والثناء الجميل وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. As to what follows, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions an incident in Surah Al-Baqarah. He subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَمْ كُنْتُمْ شُهَدَاءَ إِذْ حَضَرَ يَعْقُوبَ الْمَوْتِ. Were you present as witnesses when death came to Yaqub? إِذْ قَالَ لِبَنِيهِ. At that point in time, when Yaqub is in his deathbed, he's surrounded by his children. What do you think Yaqub alayhi salam wants to say to his children? What advice does he want to leave him with? Because this is a critical moment and he is about to depart this world. He says, إِذْ قَالَ لِبَنِيهِ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن بَعْدِي. He says, O sons, who will you worship after I die? All the sons, they replied, قَالُوا نَعْبُدُ إِلَهَكَ. We will worship your Lord and the Lord of your fathers, and so on and so forth. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مُسْلِمُونَ. And all of us, we submit to Allah. Another incident in Surah Ibrahim, Ibrahim alayhi salam makes a dua. And he says, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّ جَعَلْ هَذَا الْبَلَدَ آمِنًا وَجَنُبَنِي وَبَنِيَّ أَن نَعْبُدَ الْأَصْنَامِ. He makes a dua, Oh Allah, make this land a safe and secure land, meaning Mecca. وَجَنُبَنِي, and protect me and keep me away from, وَبَنِيَّ, and my children, from worshipping idols. Now I want to highlight some key points from these two incidents. Although separate, they have a lot in common. When we look at Yaqub alayhi salam's story, he could have said anything to his children, yet he decides to ask them who are they going to worship after he passes away. Did he ask them who's going to take which part of the estate? Who's going to take which car? Are you going to, finish your trade or university? Did he ask him any of these questions? No. His focus was solely on what are you going to worship after I pass away. And this is a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from his descendants are prophets. And his father, Ishaq, is a prophet. And his grandfather, Ibrahim, is a prophet. Yet what is he concerned about? The iman of his children. We go to Ibrahim alayhi salam's story, who is the one who smashed the idols with his own hands. He's the same Ibrahim. And he says, Oh Allah, protect and keep away myself and my children from the worship of idols. The same Ibrahim alayhi salam, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran many times, Hanifan wa ma kana min al-mushrikeen. He is always inclining to believing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he is not from the ones who associate partners with Allah. This same Ibrahim alayhi salam is making dua, Oh Allah, please keep myself and my children away from the worship of idols, the same idols I destroyed with my own hands. So what do we learn from these two examples? And how can we link it to today's time? In today's time, there is a subset of the community that are not doing their job. It's going to sound harsh, but it's a necessary reminder. Who is a subset of this community that is not doing their job? Because if this subset does not do their job, this has detrimental and catastrophic effects on the whole Ummah. Who is this subset? Who can tell me? Parents, excellent. Parents are not doing their job. Now I'm not referring to all parents, of course, إِلَّا مَنْ رَحْمَ رَبِّي. There are obviously fantastic parents out there, but the vast majority are not doing their job. This is a reality. I'm not a parent myself, but alhamdulillah, I've been teaching for nearly 10 years now. And I have close friends that I've been teaching for longer than myself. And it's a unanimous ijma' amongst all of us that kids are getting worse and worse year by year. Ask any Islamic studies teacher, any Muslim teacher at any school, they will tell you the same story. What's happening with the children today is that the parents are not doing the parenting. When it comes to Islamic education, it's outsourced to an Islamic school, a Saturday madrasa, whatever you want to call it. It's outsourced there. So the kid is an innocent child. He goes there. He tries his best. It's obviously very difficult. There's 30 students in a classroom, one teacher. Not one parent, one child. No, 30 and one teacher. So of course he might not pick up the fara'id of wudu. He might miss these things in the class. He doesn't pay attention properly. He loses focus. Then the parent comes home. You still can't make wudu yet? I've sent you 3 years in madrasa. What's Ali doing at madrasa? He calls Ali. My son hasn't learned how to make wudu yet. Why is this the case? It's not his job for you to teach your son how to make wudu. And it's not the teacher's job, it is the parent's job. It is the parent's job. So that's the Islamic education. Then comes the moral and ethical values that the child has. The parents aren't sitting with them and teaching them these values of manners, respecting elders, helping them out, serving the elder first. When a guest comes, what should you do? What do they do instead of learning these things? The parent says, here is a device for you. This is going to be your mother or father. So all day, they're scrolling through videos, playing games. Because of this, they don't learn any values. And whatever values they do learn are from the wrong sources. And then these same children are very socially awkward. They don't know how to hold a conversation with an adult. They can't even look you in the face for more than 3 seconds before turning away or getting distracted with something. These are the same children, our children, that are going through this problem because the parents are not doing their job. If you look at the example of Ya'qub alayhi salam, if there was anyone who didn't have to worry about his job, it's probably Ya'qub alayhi salam. He's a prophet. His father's a prophet. His grandfather's a prophet. If anyone has that lineage, please come see me after. For you not to worry about your children. And he is saying, مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن بَعْدِي. He's saying, what are you going to worship after me? Showing the importance of preserving the deen in your offspring. The Prophet ﷺ says, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Every single one of you is a shepherd, and every single one of you is responsible for his flock. And parents, your flock are your children. Yes, there are some instances where you can try your best and the child does not turn out how you wish. But that's an exception. Most of the time, there isn't enough happening at home. And as a teacher in a Saturday madrasa or a Quran college, the best students, by far, are those who have the right tarbiyah at home. Then when they come to these classes, it pushes them from 80, 90% to 100%. But you will never find a student who has poor tarbiyah at home become a hafiz, become a talib ilm that's very strong. You won't find this. Very rare, very rare. But you'll find the child, his parents are switched on. We just support what's happening at home. We just give them a little push, a little direction, some guidance. And he memorizes Quran, he learns his fiqh, he becomes an imam here. Very easy. But the bulk of the work has to happen at home, not at the masjid. The masjid is there to supplement what's being done at home. But if nothing is being done at home, then we must look toward ourselves and work on what we can do. So what are some solutions to this growing problem? The first is to be aware of the importance of addressing this issue. In the past, you could leave your child and not give them that much time, and the people of the town would raise them. If he's rude, your cousin or some uncle, he'll tell him off. He'll correct him, he'll fix him, he'll make sure he's doing his Quran. The whole village will raise the child. Nowadays, we live in a very individualistic society. You don't expect anyone to raise your child. Rather, it's the other way around. If someone tells your child off, parents get annoyed. Why did you tell my son off? He didn't do anything wrong. Have you seen your son? It's ridiculous sometimes. So it's a different time altogether. We don't live in that time anymore. Now you have to put extra effort, extra work to raise your child. Given the fitan around us, given the trials and tribulations of having a device, given the environment around them at school or wherever they are, given all these factors, you have to put extra effort. The second solution is to lead by example. Many a time, and I say this is very common as a madrasa teacher, parents have very high expectations of their children. Why didn't my son do this? Why did my daughter do this? Why did they get 70 instead of 95? Why didn't this happen? But the same parent doesn't seek knowledge, doesn't memorize Quran, doesn't show importance towards Islamic studies or the deen in general. Sometimes we have parents that they want their children to do something, they do the complete opposite. If that's the case, your child is highly likely not going to learn well. Because what they're seeing at home is hypocrisy. That's what they're seeing at home. If you told them, memorize, why have you memorized your page? They're thinking, I've never seen Dad memorize a page in his life. Why is he telling me to do it? How is that fair? And that's a valid point. That's a valid point from the child. So if you want your child to memorize, to learn, to become an abid, a worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they need to see it in you first. You need to lead by example. And the final point is to strive to be righteous within yourself. Sa'id ibn Musayyib, one of the tabi'een, he would lengthen his prayer and he would say to his son, I hope that Allah preserves me by preserving you. And he would recite the ayah, وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا in Surah Al-Kahf. And their father was a righteous man. Because their father was a righteous man, Allah preserved their treasure for them. So the idea is when you become salih yourself, when you become righteous yourself, then there is hope that insha'Allah, if you do the right means, the right asbab, you take the right precautions, you can raise your children in the right way, bi'idhnillah. Bi'idhnillah. So just to summarize the 3 points, or the 3 solutions. Number 1, be aware of the issue at hand and how important it is to raise your children well. Number 2, to lead by example. And number 3, to be righteous within yourself and strive to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah will preserve your children through you bi'idhnillah. Subhanaka wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.